season, along with another Astros World Series, but that's neither here nor there. So, but moving on to the Astros. So we will move into arbitration. There is a great thread that I asked one of our Twitter followers if I could read on air that really kind of summarized arbitration. And if for those that are not super familiar with arbitration and what's going on, basically, when you sign a major league contract, you are a player for like 6 years, essentially, before you can sign a quote unquote like contract. So you get the league minimum, which is 700,000, I think 720,000. What's the league minimum now? One of those two figures. It's 700 or 720, something like that. But today is arbitration figures. Not today. When this thread was created, which was the 13th. And I wasn't super familiar with arbitration. I just kind of knew that basically it happens and the player comes up with a number and then the team comes up with a number and then they kind of meet in the middle, or maybe they don't meet in the middle. And I was like, okay, whatever. So for those that aren't super familiar, I'm going to read this thread by the Astros Locker on Twitter. He's a great follow on Twitter if you guys don't follow him. And I'm going to basically just read this verbatim so that I don't get it incorrect. So, and this was, like I said, created on January 13th of 2023. Today is the deadline for players and teams to exchange arbitration figures. So let's talk about the whole arbitration process. Generally speaking, players with more than 3 and less than 6 years of service time are eligible for arbitration. Super 2 status needs its own post. Side note, I will be looking into Super 2 status because that is one of the things that confuses me as well. So arbitration eligible players are considered signed, quote unquote, but their wage has not been determined yet. Players will ask for an amount, while teams will counter with a lower amount. These numbers are based on prior salary, performance, and pay of similarly accomplished players, aka comps or comparisons. The team and player can negotiate their 2023 salary until their arbitration hearing, which happens in the spring if the two sides cannot reach an agreement. Typically, players and teams meet in the middle, but if it goes to a hearing, the arbitrator sides with the player or the team. Whoever, quote unquote, wins the hearing, that salary is what the player will earn in the following season. Arbitration salaries typically increase annually as the players rack up accomplishments. Because of this, many ARB-eligible players are considered extension candidates. The MLB luxury tax is based on average annual value of a contract, so a team could hypothetically pay a player their projected arbitration figures for years 4 through 6, then pay free agent rates for subsequent years. But the tax hit would be based on the average of those salaries. A great example of this was Alex Bregman's extension. His 5-year, $100 million deal secured his three ARB years and 2 free agent seasons. He will earn $28.5 million in 23 and 24 with a tax figure of only $20 million. The Astros have 8 arbitration eligible players, including All-Stars Framber Valdez and Kyle Tucker. There is no deadline to negotiate an extension while a player is under team control. Any deadlines imposed by the player or organization are simply based on their preference surrounding mid-season negotiations. The real deadline is when they become free agents. So we being the Astros, had a number of ARB-eligible players, notably Tucker and Framber, but also Christian Javier, Ryan Stanek, Blake Taylor, Mercy Dubon, Jose Urquidy, and Phil Maton. So going from lowest to highest, Blake Taylor, our left-handed, one of our left-handed bullpen, received $830,000 in arbitration. Phil Maton, who you may remember as his brother Nick Maton of the Phillies, getting a hit on him. And then Phil Maton being so angry that he punched a locker and was not ready for the World Series because he was stupid and punched a locker.
Yeah, let's just say it made whenever the former Astros closer punched his own face on live TV, it made that look rational.
Good night. Yeah. So, Phil Maton, received $2.55 million in arbitration. And I have feelings about Phil Maton. I have very vast deep feelings about Phil Maton. I don't know what happened between this past season and the season before when he was stone cold ice Maton that came over from the Guardians and was just lights out, and then that season ended and then this season started. He got married. I think that was the whole catalyst. He got married. So this is to all of the Astros players: do not get married or you will suck. No, I'm just kidding. Go be happy. Do the things. Okay. Go be happy. But apparently he got married and then is super happy and just makes irrational decisions like punching a freaking locker. Anyhow, Phil Maton received $2.55 million in arbitration. Mauricio Dubon. Oh, Mauricio. I love you, Mauricio Dubon.
Or as I call him, Karate Kid.
He has the cutest dogs, and his wife is adorable.
Well, doesn't he give you a Ralph Macchio 1985 Karate Kids vibe? Because he looks a lot like young Daniel LaRusso.
I love Mauricio Dubon as like a player clubhouse guy, like vibes, immaculate. Playing ability, not so much.
Well,
so part of me wants to love Mauricio Dubon, and then the other part of me is like, bro, can we ship you off so that like our AAA players that may have more ability with the bat can get in? But then I follow him on Instagram and I see his dogs. I'm like, oh, but look at the dogs.
What other player has been dubbed a personal center fielder for Justin Verlander?
Look, Justin Verlander is no longer here.
I'm just saying.
So you know what?
Saying.
Like,
we got to respect the Dubon, I guess. You know, when the Giants
not any longer.
When the Giants got rid of him, like Giants fans were upset. You would have thought that we took like Buster Posey from them. I mean, they were like, "Yeah, Mauricio Dubon." Like there was legit outrage.
Vibes, because his vibes are immaculate, and the vibes do not, unfortunately, translate to the field. Okay, I'm with.
Well, you know, Suzy, baseball is hard, and you know, whenever we hear this, you know, here's what I always try to keep into perspective. There's only like 750 major league players on the planet out of 8 billion.
Right.
So, I mean, in even the best of the best, you know, we're like, they're a terrible major leaguer. Like, well, you know what though? You know what they are? They're a major leaguer. What did they're terrible?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. So, I mean, like I will give Dubon all of the credit because again, amazing dogs. If you guys don't follow the dogs on Instagram, you should.
I don't. I will start doing that.
They're the cutest. He has a pug and he has a Frenchie, and I just every time Nancy, his wife, beautiful wife, posts them, I want to die and just like cuddle all the dogs. That's yes. So, but yeah, so Dubon gets 1.4 million in arbitration, and again, I'm so torn because again, I love Dubon as a person. But as a player, I kind of want to shake him sometimes. And I'm like, you're the reason why our AAA guys can't come up. As many AAA guys cannot come up.
He does. Yeah. And that I think is a very appropriate, I guess, perspective to take on Dubon. It's not that you disrespect that he's here on a major league roster for a reason, but yeah. There is this log jam. You know, you've got guys down in the minors that you don't know if they will get the chance, you know, and I know we keep talking about Corey Julks, but the thing is Corey Julks got overlooked in the Rule 5 draft. So he didn't even get picked up. So I think his being 27 is concerning to people, but hey, go to the Sugarland, Space Cowboys Instagram. Ryan Posner is starting a new series called Rising Stars. He does a little 2-minute breakdown of how great Corey Julks' season was this last year. I mean, they've got talent. Dearden, Leon, we talked about earlier. So, yeah, that's where a lot of people are with Dubon. They feel like he's holding back opportunities or he's blocking opportunities for other people. So, it makes sense.
So, again, I'm conflicted on Dubon. I'm very conflicted on Dubon. But anyways, Ryan Stanek, our lovely vibes bullpen guy, hopefully gets more innings this season, gets 3.6 million. Shout out to Jess who liked my Twitter update on them and I, not gonna lie, totally fangirled for just a hot second that she liked my Twitter status. I was like, hey.
Yeah,
Anyhow.
I just recently interviewed him and just asked him about the signing and about what brings him back, and I wrote an article on it, and it's on my Twitter feed if anyone wants to read it. But this guy loves Houston. His family loves the organization, the fan base, and he said it's a really hard place not to like. He's like, in other words, like for us not to want to be here would be
Right.
strange. And so I love having him back. And he said, look, he's ready to come in whatever role he has. I still haven't gone out on a limb and asked him about his thoughts on the lack of use in the postseason, just because I don't ever want to put a player in an interview in a position where I'm asking them to speak maybe sideways of a managerial move. I'm not that kind of interviewer. And I know there's reporters out there that they do that. That'll never be my shtick, because that's kind of the respect I want to give these players whenever I talk to them.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, between Jess, his beautiful wife, and their adorable daughter, oh my gosh, I literally, every time Jess posts pictures of Joe, I want to eat her cheeks off. And I realize how ridiculous that sounds. But as a former chubby cheeked child, granted, I still have the chubby cheeks, and as a mother of a chubby cheeked child, I literally I want to gnaw her cheeks. They're just so adorable. And now I understand why all of the little old ladies pinched my cheeks when I was younger, because it's so cute. But Joe is friggin' adorable. So if you don't follow Jess on Instagram or whatnot, you should, because it's adorable pictures of their child. So, and then Urquidy. Oh, Jose Urquidy, our fifth starter, Jose Urquidy, who actually might be, I don't even know, expendable to the bullpen because we've got Hunter Brown coming up. Like, I don't even know, and we keep saying here in the Astros organization, an embarrassment of riches. And I feel like we need to come up with another term for our situation, because an embarrassment of riches, if I hear it one more time, I kind of want to shove a rusty spoon in my eardrum. But it is. We have so many amazing starting pitchers that Jose Urquidy is like an afterthought in our brains. But he got $3.025 million.
Yep.
And I don't even know how many innings he threw in the World Series. Like 1, 2.
Yeah. And, and so here's the deal. So MLB Trade Rumors does projections of what they believe these players are going to make in arbitration or in their settlements. And they actually put him at 3.2. So that's less than 200,000 away from the number they projected. Jose Urquidy is an interesting person because he's a strike thrower. When he's on, he's on. When he's not locating, he's very hittable because he doesn't throw very hard. He's got a lot of, I'm not saying he's Greg Maddux, but Greg Maddux, where he didn't have velocity, where he was throwing high 80s, very low 90s, he was still striking out 13 batters a game because he knew how to locate pitches. Urquidy can be very valuable in that we are hoping that Lance McCullers stays healthy all season. You don't know what's going to happen to him throughout the season. If he stays healthy, then that's great. You ramp up his innings. Hunter Brown, he's only projected to go I think to start 10 games. I think he's going to get 20 to 25 starts this year.
I hope he gets more than 10 games.
But that's just like the FanGraphs projections, and those projections aren't always correct. But Jose Urquidy is one of those guys that also keeps getting talked about in trade rumors. Like you said, expendable. It's a great word to use. Like, I wonder what it's like for him mentally, because going into the season, he's like, I know I'm a part of the team, but I'm kind of the guy who's kind of on the outside looking in,
Well, I remember during the trade deadline when all of that was going down, he was kind of one of those am I in? Am I out?
And they were messing with him. Did you see that? Javier and them were giving him crap.
Yes.
I was like, good Lord, that's rough, man. That dude.
I felt so bad. But on pretty much any other staff in the league, minus a couple, he would be their number 3, essentially.
Yeah.
And our rotation is so deep that he's like the the 5, the 6, the maybe we're gonna move him to the bullpen guy. I mean, like you put him in, let's say not the Rays, like the Twins organization, like easy number 3.
Yeah.
Like the White Sox organization, oh for sure. And so I wonder how much that does like mess with their head. Like if they decide, oh, you know what, like I'm here in this organization, but versus the other organizations, like I could be that every day. Like you would know my name in the starting rotation kind of deal.
Exactly.
So,
No, I agree.
It's one of those where I'm like, all right, well, Jose Urquidy, like I love you. But you're like the 5th, 6th starter, possibly. We may not see you next season. Who knows? But that's
here's the thing, Suzy. You got to remember too. A team needs between 9 and 11 starters to go through 162 inning or 162 game season.
right.
We talked about this with David Sampson, and he broke it down for us from that perspective that the Astros had 9 starters last year. Belak was one of those guys. Belak's going to be an innings eater. If you have innings eaters, and don't be surprised if Lance McCullers goes on a 10-day IL stint or a 2-week IL stint, a phantom injury. Phantom injuries happen all the time. I mean, it's a part of baseball. It's a legal loophole in baseball. And if he does that, maybe Urquidy gets more innings. But I think the Astros have the confidence enough that he's still here, that they paid him to come back. There wasn't a fight or a tussle over it. And maybe he's upping his trade value for them, and they want him to, maybe he's more an integral part in the first part of the season, and then Hunter Brown takes over the second part of the season, in that role. But my thing is, if you're going to serve Hunter Brown correctly, you have to have him stretched out at least a quarter of the way in to the end of the season, because you don't want to shorten his being stretched out. You don't want to shorten that by just throwing him in the bullpen, pitching him in here, because that's not his role. You may have piggyback starts. You may have where Urquidy pitches 5 and Brown comes in and pitches the last 4. You may have they do that in the minors. If that's how they bring these pitchers up with the piggyback system, and it's not a starter role like the Rays do, but a true guys back to back and 2 starters in one game, that really saves the bullpen as well.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this season. A couple of other names that we've not touched on. Fromber avoided arbitration and got $6.8 million for this year, which is
a lot.
Is a big jump. From what was he getting, three and something million? For
3, 5, 6 or something. Yeah, he was. But that's a huge jump, Suzy, because when you start talking $5 million and up for these arbitration hearings, that's a big number. But then Kyle Tucker. What about Tucker?
Oh, well, let's end on Tucker. Because I have feelings on Tucker. So Fromber, side note on Fromber. I mean, really and truly, if we did not have JV last season, I 1000% believe that Fromber would have gotten way more Cy Young votes.
Oh yeah.
I think Fromber this season is on track to receive a good portion of Cy Young votes if he keeps up what he did last season. Which
I think Christian Javier too had more innings because he was top 3 in every category where there's Ks per 9, all that stuff. So you've got 2 guys, and Fromber and Javier, who are going to be top 10 Cy Young nominees, and one of them may actually win it. Yeah.
I follow Fromber on Instagram, and I'm seeing all of Fromber's workouts and whatnot.
He's a beast.
Like, good night, just running on the beach and like following car. I'm like, what are we doing here?
He's like Rocky.
Like, look at you.
He's like getting ready for Rocky 4.
I mean, you want to talk about workhorse? Lord have mercy. So, shout out to you, Fromber. I'm so excited to watch him on the mound this next season. So, 2 players that unfortunately could not meet in the middle for their numbers. Javi, which we touched on, asked for 3.5 million, and the Astros were willing to give him 3. Now, I was one of those people on Twitter saying, Astros, what are we doing here? Sir, he started 2 combo no-hitters, 1 versus the Yankees and 1 in the World frickin' Series. What are we doing here? You can't come up $500,000. I mean, that is a drop in the bucket. That is like $1 to you people. So I, in my fury, was enraged for Christian Javier. But when I took a step back and rationally looked at it, and I was like, okay, I understand that all of the numbers, moving on from here are, and odds are they will agree to some sort of in the middle type of thing. But I am still that Christian Javier homer that 500,000, really, Astros? What are we doing? Why?
Yeah, and there may be, because it has been talked about here and there, and I've heard people say that the Astros are looking at extending him and Valdez. I think Javier gets an extension before Valdez because he's younger, but it's literally the player offers, the team offers, the arbiter comes in the middle and says, okay, this is what's fair. Boom, this is what you get. So there's not always contention. There's not always animosity in the process. It's just they're fighting for their future, because the more they can negotiate now, the higher value they're going to naturally have, because you're not going to pay a guy a massive arbitration salary and then come down and try to lowball them on their contract. And so
on their free agent contract,
that's where the team is trying to hold back a little bit. They're like, we want to, So I think the Javier thing gets done without any issues. And the arbiter decides it gets done. And then I think my prediction is that Javier gets signed to some kind of extension between now and when the regular season starts.
From your mouth to God's ears, or flying spaghetti monster, or whatever is up there, Brett, because Lord have mercy. I need Christian Javier and Fromber signed.
Because he makes the most sense to me. He makes the most sense to me to, like I said, with his age, and to get it done now. And I think,
for sure,
I think Framber too, but we have a wealth of talent. We have a lot of money, but we can't pay everybody.
Exactly. And then our, my king, Kyle Tucker, Kyle Tucker asked for 7.5 and the Astros offered 5. Now that I can see, because that is a good bit of difference. And you and I were talking before the show started, and you had said something about Mike Trout receiving 5.5 or something like that.
Yeah. I believe it was around 5.5 for his first big, whenever he, before he made his first big contract, I think he got 5.56 million. And so when you get up around those numbers, between 5 and 10 million, that's literally a king's ransom in the arbitration. And I'd say this right now about Kyle Tucker, and I haven't talked to him personally. The dude knows he knows he's very self-aware, and he has this quiet confidence about him. Like if I'm Kyle Tucker, or if I'm picturing Kyle Tucker, he's probably sitting there thinking, I don't know, are we allowed to cuss on this show?
Brett, who the fuck are you talking about? Have you watched any of our episodes, Brett? Well, obviously you've not.
I know. No, I have, but I don't know, as a locked on guy.
It has been an hour and 33 minutes, and I just dropped my first F-bomb. Brett.
Okay. Well, so here's the deal.
This is an anomaly.
Kyle Tucker sits back and goes, you know what? I'm pretty badass. Do you guys know what I'm going to do to the league?
That you're worried about cussing, and that's the cuss word that you dropped.
Sorry, that's awesome. That's HTown Wheelhouse for you. My bad.
Oh, but yeah, no. And you've got Lance McCullers. Literally every time Kyle Tucker posts on Instagram, you've got Lance McCullers commenting, today's price is not yesterday's price.
Mm.
LMJ, I need you to respectfully, I say that respectfully, sir. I need you to shut the fuck up. Okay. Like I know Kyle Tucker deserves all of the money. I want Kyle Tucker to get all of the money. Okay. But I also want Kyle Tucker to stay with.
Don't drive that price up for us. Right.
Yes. And I know Kyle Tucker is worth all of the money. I want Kyle Tucker to get all of the monies, the entire bag. But I really feel like the Astros are not going to give him that bag because that's not what we do.
And here's the problem with all these salaries. It's not that a player isn't worth it, but we're now going into territory where players are being paid into their 40s.
Yeah.
And again, not to name drop again, but David Sampson did say that Jim Crane's one of the smartest executives in all of baseball because he's not jumping into this pool of paying players, and he said really the Jose Abreu deal, what it was probably like, you know what, technically we're paying you, just consider it paying you 68 for 2 years and we're giving you the third year. Like,
right.
We put the third year in there so we're not having to pay you all this money in 2 years, but we want to have you back for that third year as well. But he's clearly, he's just going to get into where he's 40, where all these clubs are 40, 41. It's just not smart baseball. Now with Kyle Tucker, he stands to get probably, he wants an 8 to 10 year deal, I would think, 10 to 12. Is he that one player though, that the Astros say, you know what, we're going to give this guy a big contract, or do the Astros not go outside of that? Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. If it's worked until now, the biggest thing holding this back is A, the Astros' character on the subject, and B, who they have coming up and the promise they have in prospects that are supposed to deliver when they get to the major league level.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about prospects, Brett. I don't want to hear about.
I'm just telling you. I think those are things. But
I want Kyle Tucker on my team forever.
Oh, I would love Kyle Tucker. I want Jose Altuve to retire in Astro. I want Bregman to retire.
Yes. Okay. I think Jose Altuve does retire in Astro.
He does for sure. I think
whatever happens, however that I think Jose Altuve retires as an Astro. I'm less confident on Breggy retiring in Astro, but I'm definitely more confident about Breggy retiring as an Astro than Kyle Tucker. I
agree with that.
If I have to deal with my child sobbing because Kyle Tucker moves on to a different team, it is going to be a dark day in the Suzy Fulton household.
So which team would it cause the most pain? Okay, outside of like a Yankees signing or a Mets signing, like what team could you see him going to, but you would hate seeing him play for that team?
The Dodgers.
Oh.
Yeah. See, it hurts. It hurts. If anybody but the Dodgers and the Yankees, anybody besides the Dodgers and Yankees, like go get your bag, Kyle Tucker. Hats off. Tip my proverbial cap.
See, someone goes, what if he ends up with the Rays? And I'm like, but the Rays don't sign those contracts.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he's from Tampa.
It's not going to be the Rays. Mm-hmm. Nope, not the Rays. I'm trying to think of who would. Hell.
I would hate it if he went to the...
like if Kyle Tucker came on the market, clubs would say, "I'll give a fuck who's in right field. Like we will make room. We will shift whatever needs to happen for Kyle Tucker to be on."
That's a move I think the Texas Rangers would make. It would piss me off. I would.
Oh God, that would hurt too.
Yeah, that would hurt too. That would be really bad. I mean, whenever Lance Berkman went to the Rangers, I'm like, you're a what? You're a Ranger?
Wait, Lance Berkman went to the Rangers?
I believe so.
Hold on. Oh God. Okay, that's another thing that I need to, because I was Lance Berkman, like Big Puma on the Cardinals. I was like, I'm sorry, what just happened over here? Why is Lance Berkman on the Cardinals? What's going on?
I talked to him before he signed that. He was with the Yankees for like a year, and it was when the Astros were really bad, and we were at a production because my son used to go to Second Baptist School in Houston. I used to teach there. His kids went there. His wife's from there and all that stuff. So we're talking. I said, hey, Lance, is it okay if I ask you a baseball question? He goes, sure. I said, is there any chance you sign back with the Astros? He goes, I'll sign if they pay me. And I'm like, just don't sign with like someone like the Yankees. Literally, he signed with the
That's
Yankees, but they were willing to pay him. And
You're
he
right,
was just trying to get a few more extra paydays before he retired. I mean, the dude was able to retire in his mid 30s. Like, who does that? Right?
Yeah, I did not put the proper respect on Lance Berkman's name.
Man.
I did not. I'll fully admit that. My husband was telling me about all of the Bagwell Biggio era and how amazing Lance Berkman was, and I'm like, sure, okay, whatever. Lance Berkman, sure, okay.
I'm going to show you something.
Did not put the respect that Lance Berkman deserved. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh my god.
This was just gifted to me from a friend, a TriStar authenticated Lance Berkman autographed bat.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, that top bat up there, that first one. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm pointing to the top bat. That top bat is a Berkman bat, and then I want to say like this one is also. I want to say is two. Now I have to go look. Hold on. Ooh. Ooh, dear. Okay. I was wrong. This one's Lance Berkman bat.
Nice. Oh, so you got an actual Lance Berkman bat. I've got a pro model bat. I think it's just a big stick pro model. It's not his personal bat. It's not personalized.
This one was from the 2001 All-Star game.
Wow.
So
Now, how did you get your hands on that?
Marrying my husband, does that count?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, my husband was a big collector before obviously I became a fan. So he was trying to tell me all about all these players. I'm like, sure. Tell me about George Springer. Why do you not have George Springer stuff? And he's like, can you not can you just Biggio, Bagwell, all that? So the black one up there is a Bagwell.
Okay.
And then the bottom one is a Mike Hampton.
Nice.
So I say I because all of the things that belong to my husband now belong to me as well. But yeah, lots of older Astro stuff.
I actually have a Kyle Tucker.
All this stuff.
And you're gonna hate when you hear this. There's one of those bats up there signed by Kyle Tucker. I also have a ball.
Awesome.
I have a game used ball signed by Kyle Tucker that was authenticated from the Astros authentication store. I won those paying $20 for 2 raffle spots on a Facebook group.
Awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I've got it's like a tiny shrine to Kyle Tucker.
I see that. I see the picture.
Yes.
Kyle
Tucker over there. Oh,
now,
over there. There we go.
I'm kind of disappointed as a photographer you didn't Photoshop yourself into the picture.
Sir, I have one. Let's see. Let me move my.
Wait, have you done this?
Let me move my.
No, are you serious?
Let me move my screen. Do you see my screen up
I
there?
see it. Is that Kyle Tucker in a sweater?
Yes, that is Kyle Tucker in a sweater, and that is not actually photoshopped. I met Kyle Tucker at one of the TriStars, and I paid for the picture, and so it's like Kyle Tucker and I and my twins, and it looks like we're one happy family.
Nice. I like it.
Yes. So I don't have to Photoshop a picture of Kyle Tucker and I together. It's already up there.
Your husband's like, why do our Christmas cards have you and Kyle Tucker and the kids?
Yeah. He wouldn't mind. He wouldn't mind at all.
I'm just saying,
he wouldn't.
In The Office, whenever Michael Scott photoshops himself into that ski picture.
No, he's amazing. So, but going to that though, Kyle Tucker and his amazing fiance, they got engaged over the off season. So congratulations, Kyle Tucker and Samantha. And Chaz, our center fielder forever.
Right.
And by our, I mean my center fielder forever, because there are some of you out there that are not putting the respect that Chaz McCormick deserves on his name.
He's Suzy's personal center fielder.
He is 1,000%. So if there is a Chaz McCormick fan club, I am the president, co-founder, all of that. Like, that's me. Okay. So Chaz McCormick, proposed to his beautiful girlfriend, now fiance, Courtney. So congratulations to them. And then JJ Matijevic.
Oh, wow.
Recently just got married. I want to say like a week ago. So
Man.
congratulations, JJ Matijevic. So yeah, that wraps up.
So are you still sticking to this marriage theory then?
Look, I'm not going to put that juju on them. Okay. I'm not going to put that juju on them. I'm just saying that history denotes that once a player gets married, it's not a good time. Okay. So but I'm not going to put that juju. I'm not going to put that juju onto them. I fully believe that Chas McCormick and Kyle Tucker will be amazing players for years on it. Okay.
Well, we're hoping that in 4th or 5th grade they got their cootie shot. Circle, circles,
right.
dot. Now I got my cootie shot. And that keeps all the bad stuff that you get from I was told to stay away from the girls. They have cooties, and then of course we'd get our cootie shot at school. Do the whole circle, and do that, and then we'd be totally vaccinated from girls being a bad thing, and that's why I had a very serious relationship in 4th grade. Was given a gold chain in 4th grade, and it turned my neck green. That was nice. It was totally fake gold, but so I'm fully vaccinated in that regard. But look, I think at the end of the day, what the Astros have, when you look at the players, the cast of characters they have, literally Major League Baseball just came out and rated the Astros the top lineup in baseball. Whether someone is out there platooning with Chas, or Chas is the main guy.
Don't you put that juju on him, Brent.
No,
don't
listen.
You do it.
No, this is it. I think Chaz's ability at the plate is massive. Like, his swing covers the entire plate. I think his defense was on display in the World Series, and the center field position is his. And I don't think the competition is a bad thing for him. You know what? Some players do
Is Chas
thrive.
like Seabiscuit? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that some players thrive in that platooning position. Some players thrive where they're not getting every single start. And someone is going to have to challenge him for that spot. But I think he's proven that he is the guy, but he's going to have competition. And I don't know that Jake Myers ever really gets back to that spot of favoritism he had with the Astros. Mm-hmm. But I think you're going to see Pedro Leon. I think you're going to see Dearden. You're going to see Myers. You see a lot of guys really gunning for that position in 2023. And I think that makes the Astros a better team, because during the season, you're going to need people. You're going to need rest. You're going to need that stuff. If, things pop up, and come playoff time, you don't want to just have one option out there. You want to have multiple guys. And I think some of these guys can work Mauricio Dubon out of a job if he's someone they can move at the trade deadline. You're able to keep a more valuable piece. But for all intents and purposes, he is the starting center fielder going into opening day.
No, for all intents and purposes, he is. He is the Astros center fielder, and I think you are correct that I think that center field job is his to quote unquote lose. But I think that there was a lot of movement there this season. I mean, he got sent down to AAA. Granted, he never actually left. When Michael Brantley went down with that injury, he was still at the hotel, and the Astros called him and said, "Oh, just kidding. Don't get on a plane. You got to come play." And he did. He came out and said, that was kind of an eye-opening experience for him. I don't think by any means he was not working as hard as he could. But I do think that maybe he's like, okay, well, all right, well, let's do this, and I'm going to show him everything that I have. And I think that he will be. It is the center field job is his, and I think maybe if he knows that he's a little bit more secure in that center field spot, maybe he will. Not saying that he pressed a bunch last season, but maybe he will relax a little bit and maybe hit right-handers a little bit more than he did last season, because he crushed lefties, but. He played, he had 407 plate appearances according to Baseball Reference. Look, Chas McCormick is our center fielder, and our 1 through 7 is freaking. You want to talk about the closest thing to like Murderer's Row? I feel like, and this is not even like a Astros like Homer take. I really truly feel that the Astros 1 through 7 is freaking ridiculous. And the fact that Chas McCormick has a slash line of, let's see, his 245, 332, and 738. I mean, that's your eight hole. Like, the fact that is a very serviceable, those are very serviceable numbers. Your 8 and 9 hole, we don't have enough time to talk about Martin Maldonado. I love you, Martin Maldonado. We don't have enough time to talk about that. But the fact that, like, that is your 8 hole, Astro fans, what are we doing here? Okay? Have y'all just gotten so used to and accustomed to all of our guys just being so amazing that you're like, oh my gosh, Chas McCormick, he's not doing. Shut up. Okay? You could be Reds fans. You could be a Pittsburgh Pirate fan. Okay? Like that could be us.
That hurt.
Okay? So stop it. Okay? Like, I need everybody to hop on the Chas McCormick train with me. Okay? I will be the conductor. Just hop on. That is your 8 hole. All of you people that are saying Martin Maldonado, I need also you to shut up too, because it's
I like Chas in the 9 hole better, because Chas gets on base, and then Altuve can knock him in.
Altuve can knock him in. Okay. Regardless of where he is, though, I mean, if your 8 and 9 hole are your weakest hitters, and your quote unquote weakest hitter, his OPS is 738. Like, that is, what are we doing here? Like, we are spoiled. We are spoiled. And now we're acting like the bratty kid in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Daddy, I want that one.
I wasn't a big Charlie and Chocolate Factory fan. I didn't really like that as much as the original Willy Wonka. I'm more a Willy Wonka guy. Johnny Depp kind of creeped me out a little bit in that movie, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, regardless of which Willy Wonka you watched, like Violet didn't change.
Oh my
that.
gosh,
like, she was still the same bratty freaking kid in both.
We have turned into Violets. I mean, look, we are in the greatest era of Astros baseball, and we may be witnessing one of the greatest teams and team runs ever assembled. I mean,
exactly.
Really going to be one of the top 5 baseball teams ever. I mean, we're going to be up there with the Big Red Machine, with the Oakland A's, with the Yankees that won all those titles back in the, early 1900s. And I mean, really, that's what we've got here. And sustainable success is absolutely achievable. I've had our championship window open through 2026, 2027. And it's just, to me, the sky's the limit. So we have to temper our expectations on Astros signing people. We have to trust the process that got us here, and know that at the end of the day, no matter who's patrolling center field or in the 9 hole or leading off, I trust that the Astros make the right decision.
1,000%. So, I mean, Astros fans, like we are a spoiled bunch. We have been accustomed to a lot of amazing, not once in a lifetime, but some like generational talent here, right? Like, that's the level of play that the Astros have brought up from our system and have molded into these amazing players. It has just been mind blowing. So, we're gonna close the show because Brett, we are a chatty bunch, sir. We have been chatting for quite some time. Yes, so, but a great episode. So we're gonna go ahead and end it right here. Brett, tell all of our listeners, there we go, where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find me at HTown Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at Locked On Astros on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, pretty much any social media platform. And check out our YouTube channel, Locked On Astros. Subscribe to us. Right now, we're doing 3 shows a week, stretching it to a 4th. Once the season gets started, we'll go back to 5 days a week, and we are your only daily Astros podcast. We're your team every day.
Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of shows. It's a lot of shows, Brett. So, but Brett, we appreciate you and thank you for coming on the show and chatting with me for the last hour and 54 minutes apparently. So I will put all of Brett's links in the episode description below. And go check out Locked On Astros. Brett, you also do some writing as well on various sources.
Yeah, so Dirt Diamond Sports Network. If you go to dirtdiamondsportsnetwork.com, we just kind of did a little soft launch of a sports network, and have some people that you may be familiar with that may have a small part in it. Suzy and Shelby have basically agreed to help us out with that. It's just, look, it's people that want to get together and talk about baseball, Major League Baseball, not just Astros focus, but around the league. So as we grow and as we gain people from other regions and stuff, we hope that it will be a go-to place for whether they're avid or casual fans of Major League Baseball.
Yes, for sure. So, like Brett mentioned, Shelby and I have signed onto the Dirt Diamond Network. We're very excited for that. We are writing some articles, summarizing some of our past episodes so that can go up on the website, and we are thrilled for that. And again, I will put all of Brett's information in the show description, show notes below. And if you guys like what you hear, like what you see, that sounded weird. Don't do that. But if you like the information that Shelby and I have been putting out there, we appreciate any sort of likes, comments, rates, reviews. We definitely want to get back on the charts. We have fallen off, but that is okay because there's like a gajillion and a half baseball podcast, and when I look at all of the podcasts on the top 250, they're like lots of national ones. So even the fact that like we broke in at all just kind of makes me feel good. But we definitely want to get back on the charts. So if you guys like the show, rate, review on Apple and Spotify and YouTube. Come join us over on our YouTube channel. I think there's like 115 of you subscribed.
Nice.
Which hooray for us over there. And with that, we will say goodbye, and we will see you guys next week. We're very excited about some of our upcoming guests, but we will keep you in the loop on our Instagram, Twitter, all of our social medias, fun stuff. So with that, we will say goodbye and thank you to Brett, and we will see you guys next week. Go Stros.
Go Stros.